So today, I want to first bring up some of the issues about what I do for a living. I started my business on my kitchen table, just as many of you are thinking of doing. I was at a craft fair one weekend, and some artists came up to me and they said, you know, you're dressed kind of like you're in business, and we want to know, we have some questions about business. And they were complaining about their lot in life. And I said, well, what are your problems? And they said, well, you know, we've been doing these art fairs for years, and we don't have time to produce our work, and we don't have time to design our work. And the art fairs, some of them we get into, some of them we don't get into, and there are problems with that. And so we're not making as good a living as we think we can make. So I said to them, well, I think that the answer to that would probably be wholesaling. Do you want to wholesale your work? Yes. We do want to wholesale our work, but we're having trouble getting into shows because there's only, at the time, like one show within the area here. And that show required you to really submit your slides as one-of-a-kind pieces, not as production work. So if you were a production artist, you could, and you did one-of-a-kind work, you were not really allowed to submit your one-of-a-kind pieces for jury and then bring your production work to. That was really against the rules. And that kept a lot of people from making a living. It made business very unreliable, and it made the lives of artists very tough. So I decided to start the first wholesale market. I did this only at first as a hospitality suite. There were 6 artists that I knew. They wanted me to do it, so I did it. The only problem with that is that they started telling their friends. And there was so much demand for a wholesale-only show that I could not believe it. Before a few weeks was gone, there were 82 people in our first show, and it was at the old Hilton, and it was wholesale only, and the retailers came up to me and they said, we need a show where the artists are prioritizing their lives for wholesale. Because if we have a whole show with artists that are primarily there for retail, and only, and wholesale is just the icing on their cake and not their cake, then they will ship goods. They won't ship their goods to us on time. They'll do a retail fair instead. They'll be down in inventory and they can't ship their goods when they promised us. And we can't have stores that are empty. So we need the promise of an artist that is really committed to wholesaling. So we did the first show. It was a success. The next year it doubled. The next year it doubled. The next year it doubled. And we moved out of Baltimore to Valley Forge, and then to Atlantic City, and then to Philadelphia. The show in Philadelphia is the entire, has been traditionally the entire size of the hall. It's a little smaller right now during the recession, but that hall is twice the size of the hall in Baltimore. So we have thousands of retailers coming. And the wholesale trade show was our first business model. The next was to take the trade show and put it into print so that retailers could learn from each other about best business practices, and artists could sell their work in between the shows. And that's how we created Niche Magazine, okay? And Niche Magazine goes out to 10,000 retailers that are luxury retailers, jewelry stores, art museum shops, catalogs, national park buyers. It goes out to lots of buyers that are interested in American craft and fine contemporary design. So each of these magazines is directed just to the retailers, so it's not on the newsstand. But as happens with the economy, every once in a while you get an economic slump, and we wanted to make sure that during the next economic slump, that there was a magazine to encourage people to continue to buy American-made high design during a recession. And that's how American Style was born. And American Style is a magazine for collectors of American craft and American-made high design goods, luxury goods. And this magazine is on thousands of newsstands in 26 countries and goes out to about the homes of 50,000 collectors. So its reach is over 250,000 people in each issue, okay, for readership. And because they are numbered, people collect them, and if they lose number 43, we get a phone call saying, oh, I need a replacement. So these are people really, really committed to the American craft movement and buying things American-made. We have some new things that we're launching. One is artstravel.com, which takes the galleries that are featured in American Style magazine and puts them into a wonderful database so that, and online with an iPhone or an iPad, and you can actually find all the galleries when you're traveling. So it really helps galleries get new customers into their stores, which is our mission in life. Because if the galleries don't get new customers in stores, then we can't make new artists happy.